Hello friends and welcome. My name is GoldMetaMouth06 and welcome to a little test world where I'm going to be running over something that I thought was kind of important to talk about for Sky Factory 3. We are in a Sky Factory 3 world and we are going to be talking about something that is kind of overpowered in the actual game that comes from a mod known as Immersive Engineering, and that is the Garden Clutch. So right now I just have a little setup. I have an infinite energy source on the top, and I just have some water, infinite water going into it, and a simple distribution system. So I'm going to be talking about this because some people might not know what the best way to get massive amounts of magical crops is, and that is the Garden Clutch, because the Garden Clutch has a unique ability where it grows pretty much everything within it about a few seconds, maybe 3 to 4, 5 possibly. I'm not sure, I don't know, I haven't actually timed it, but what the Garden Clutch also does is it also duplicates seeds. This is an intended feature of the Garden Clutch, but that's not an intended feature of, say, Mystical Agriculture, which is kind of not too right. You can't use fortune, I don't believe, to duplicate seeds. It's made sure that you have to grind out to get multiple seeds to make an overpowered farm. So we have a lot of uses for this. Once you get one seed, you can basically make a massive farm with every one of these. In this video, I'm going to be actually running over the simplest way that I think to set up a Garden Clutch is with the simplest form of power that you can get for these, and using maybe other power source, and also showing off how much energy actually is, or RF I should say, not energy, is actually used when using one of these. And I will run over the best way to actually get the fastest amount of resources with using these. So let me set up really quick, and I will show you first the basics of how to actually get this pretty much set up pretty quickly. Okay, so we got the simplest form set up that we will run over on how to actually get one of these running. I'm not going to put any items in it. I've already put a little bit of power in it, but we'll actually just, for the purpose of this test, just get rid of that and start back over. So the easiest way, I would say, to get a power and to get some water in. So there's the sink over there. I already got that set up at the beginning of the video, as you can see. We're putting the water from the sink into a tank. And the sink is a very easy crafting recipe to get started off with. Oh, no, wrong button. Very simple when you start off your world. It's not too hard to get. Along with the tank, it is not too hard to get. All you have to get is some ender pearls and some blaze rods. You can easily get blaze rods with loot bags. From loot bags, just the rare loot. From epic loot bags, it's not too hard to get if you have a lot of loot bags when you first start off with a mob farm. So it's not too hard to actually get up to this level. Pretty much everything else is a little bit more difficult, but this is the easiest way to do it. We're using what is known as a liquid translocator. I find this a very OP item. I didn't know about this until earlier, but this is nice to find. And also, all you need is one sink and one ender tank to put the water in. Then color code it using wool, or no, not wool, dyes. I use the blue one to signify water. And you put it into the tank, and then you can easily just set it up. Oops, need an empty inventory slot, and you can easily put water into it. Glowstone, if you put glowstone on this, it will actually speed up the process. I don't know how much it moves out for liquids, but it moves out a lot with glowstone for like items. There's an item version of this, and glowstone moves it out at 64 at a time. I'm not sure. I think it might be 1 bucket, which is 100. 1 bucket's like a liquid. Whatever the liquid thing is 1 bucket. That's 1,000 millibuckets or something like that. Not sure how all that terminology works, but with the ender tank and the sink, it's pretty much easy. You can just, if you want, get one ender tank, and you can also use pipes, which would be probably a little bit simpler, but because these is kind of expensive. You can get it from loot bags, epic as well, if you're on the search for blaze rods, so you could get lucky. But if you want to, really, the best part to speed up the water distribution process is to probably just use a sink with this, and then you can use pipes, because these don't use a lot of water at all. Now, let's move on to power generation. Immersive engineering has some of the weirdest power that you can actually physically make. You can use windmills, you can use water mills, but what I think is the best for immersive engineering, to start off with at least, is to use the thermoelectric generator, which has a recipe like that. It's pretty difficult to actually get, but once you have copper and some iron, it won't take too long. It doesn't have anything like treated wood, unlike a garden clutch, which will be your main hassle to get. So you're going to need to get treated wood planks to get a garden clutch. So this is kind of late game, but making a coke oven is not too difficult. And once you get a coke oven working and you slightly automate it, you will get enough creosote oil to make a lot of treated wood. So you'll be good on that. Once you get up to that level, you can pretty much do this early game, in all honesty. It won't take too long, and then you'll be able to gather enough resources to really get into late game. The thermal, from what I have right here, this is not the best, but this is the easiest setup to make the thermoelectric generator work. So how it works is you need a hot source and a cold source. So plutonium is considered a hot source, and water is considered a cold source. Plutonium, for anyone that probably knows this mod better than me, I'm not quite sure. From my research, I found the plutonium block was the hottest block you could use. It's even hotter than lava and water. We can actually do a test. If I'm wrong, I've just learned something new. But plutonium's not too hard to get, but lava would probably be easier to get. You can use lava here. This gives 30 RF per tick. That's a decent amount. Let's see what lava does. I do know it is less. Yes, it's only 12 RF. It's 15 RF per tick, so it's half. So using a plutonium block is a lot better. Ice is actually the coldest source. Packed ice and regular ice. I'm actually not sure about packed ice. I'll actually try packed ice too, because one could be colder than the other. We put that there and grab some packed ice and regular ice. We're gonna be testing to see which one is actually pretty much better. Ice is very difficult to get. That's why I say not to really use it. You can only get it through Ice Essence or Mana Infusion with Snow, and Mana Infusion takes a while if you're not good at Botania, so this would probably be the easiest way to do it. But Ice, let's see what Ice does. Ice is actually the same, so it actually doesn't really matter if you use water or ice, so that is actually pretty good news. I thought it was just a little bit better, but I was wrong. Let's actually try Packed Ice. Packed Ice might be better. Actually, nope, it's exactly the same. So it really doesn't matter which one you use. So water, packed ice, doesn't really matter. So the good thing about this, we're actually going to duplicate one more over here. Put one thing over here. The one problem with, what is this mod? Immersive engineering is the wiring. You can, in fact, use conduits from Ender.io. I'll do a little demonstration just in a second. But you have to take the items, the power out from the top and move it into the source. I'm doing it here just to be able to show you how much RF is going in. These LV wire connectors, that's the ones you want to use for this kind of power. LV, not HV, that this is low voltage and that is high voltage. We're not working with high voltage. Not that I believe. And this transfers the power into here. And LV wire, the LV wire connector are the ones that transmit the power. These send the power and you can connect as many wires as you want to this, but you can't connect more than one wire to the LV wire connectors while you can to the relays. So like right here, we can connect we'll be able to connect more than one, but for now, let us see. Its power is not being drained. Is that so? Oh, that is wrong then. This is, oh, it was draining for half a second. Did it get power? Did it get power? No, it didn't get power. So, my bad. I thought that worked the other way. So you do need let's move this down one more block. and grab this. So if you want to send power to multiple sources, you're going to have to connect it to one of these. So we're just going to connect it right here. And then that's going to be connected to right here. So let's see. That drains a lot more than... It's probably because it doesn't have dirt in it. Let's get some dirt really quick. And let's put some dirt in. There we go. So it uses a lot at first, but now it's at like 30. Let's actually see how much power is being used while it drains. And you can see that it's like about 7, 8-ish RF per tick once this is full. So that's not too bad at all. So you can do at least, from what I'll be able to see, you can do at least... Oh, that doesn't have any water in it. And let's just do it. Gosh dang it. You can do at least a few at a time. Probably about 4. Probably more like less because it eventually gets to a point where it can't keep up. So I would suggest maybe about 3. So that's how much you would really use for one of these. Can power at least 3, probably not 4. So that is why. Now, just run over the basics. Let me just really quickly show you that you can actually use Ender conduit. So where's the highest power transfer one? There we go. So let's just break that. Let's break that and break that and boop, boop. And there you go. You can see the RF is being transferred back into it really easily. We can also break this and use these to transfer the power. Also, these are a bit more expensive, I would say, than using the wire connectors. As you can see, like right here, it's only copper and hardened clay. You can get those easy copper and hardened clay. And this is just your copper and sticks. Well, these cost vibrant alloy, which is ender pearls and an energetic alloy, which is all this kind of stuff. So these are the relay and wire connector are much cheaper. Okay, so in this part we're gonna explore all of the the essences and all of the seeds that you can make in magical crops, and I have put a list of them all down and how many clutches we're gonna need. And what I mean by how many clutches we're gonna need is very simple. So we'll do an example for the first 2 really quickly. So for all the essences, all the seeds except for Inferium, for an Inferium tier 5 seed, you get 5 Inferium for an Inferium tier 5, but you only get 1 essence per everything else. As you can see here, it's gonna go up by 1. As you can see how it grows, it just goes up by 1 each time. So that is the downside to most of these things, except for this one. So I based it on what you can craft with Inferium, and most things just require 4, and a block requires 10 essence. So you need 2 clutches to really make up the things you want with Inferium, but you don't really need too much, because we're also going to go into something else that involves the seeds. So over here we have the stone. Let me take 1 stone, and let's look at the essence. So what you can craft the essence with. As you can see, we can craft a lot of things with it, which means we would need a lot of clutches per 1 essence. So for example, wrong button. For example, we would need 8 garden clutches to make 32 cobbles, to make the cobblestone, to craft the cobblestone, and vice versa with the stone, you need 9. So in total, you would need 49 stone clutches, 49 clutches to make all the things you can craft with stone. So this is an example of what you could do and make it extreme. But we're going to actually simplify it down in a minute, because let's put the stone back. Let's take out a seed. Oh, we already have an extra seed in my inventory because I accidentally grabbed it. The seed has a few uses, and one of those uses is a seed reprocessor. A seed reprocessor is pretty slow, and also with it within the tier 5, it will give you 5 for the tier 5. So that's going to be actually pretty useful. So we're going to get basically, what's going to happen is for every seed we get, we're going to get 2 essences for everything except for Inferium, because for every 1 we get 5 for the tier 5 Inferium. So we're going to be adding that into the calculation a little bit later, but let's just run over pretty quickly the everything else. So dirt, you need 30. Nature, to make all the nature things, you need 80. I think this is the most. Wood, 31. Water, 11. Ice, 12. Fire 10. Dye, 36. Nether, 19. Coal, 8. Iron, 12. Is that right? Yeah, iron, 12. Quartz, 12. Glowstone, 8. Redstone, 9. Obsidian, 8. Gold, 8. Lapis, 8. End stuff, 14. Experience, 12. Diamond and Emerald, 9. Rotten Flesh, 3. Pig, 3. Chicken, 3. I accidentally messed up here and forgot to put everything else in, but we'll just keep going. Sulfur, 3. All the metals, 8. Then Magical Flower, 54. And still all the metals, including marble, limestone, and basalt, Draconium and Yellorium, all need 8 essences, so 8 clutches in total. Cow, you need 11. Sheep, you need 12. Slime, you need 6. Skeleton, you need 24. Creeper, you need 19. Spider, 12. Rabbit, 11. Guardian, 10. Blaze, 5. Ghast, 8. Enderman, 8. Wither Skeleton, 17. And Silicon, 3. So that's a lot. And when you add that up, you get a total of 843 clutches to assist them just to craft the items you wanted. So like with the quartz enriched iron, you can only make quartz enriched stuff. With like spider essence, you can make, oh, wrong button. You can make string, you can make spider eyes, you can also make sponge. So there's a lot of things you can make. So this is like if you overkill it and you didn't use the seed reprocessors to recycle your essences. One other thing, I found a block known as a reservoir from Ender Isle. This is very cool because it is an infinite water source, so you can just fill this up and it will infinitely fill itself, and you don't need anything externally like these things over here. So it's good, and it's not terrible to have things like this helping you with helping you transfer the water in, so it reduces on like lag that might be involved with these or involved with liquid transfer nodes, liquid translocators. So 843 is the maximum if you overkilled it. If you just did 1 per 1 and didn't worry about the seed reprocessor. So we're going to actually try and simplify it down a little bit and do a demonstration of how this kind of would actually physically work. Prepared some areas for us to demonstrate how we're going to use the garden clutches to the most efficient way possible for mystical agriculture crops, to maybe go to the extreme with all these and making every single item that they can make, so you can get masses amount of items. But in all realistic, you wouldn't really do that. So let me run over that and then I'll say why it's not really realistic. But it would, if you really wanted to do it, you could. So we have the first little part over here. I just set up a little thing. I wish these were actually in sync. That's kind of actually annoying me. But we got some Inferium growing right here, tier 5, going into this ender chest just to transport items easier. And this ender chest right here and right here. I could have connected these systems. I'm kind of regretting not, in all honesty. But that's why these look much different than this. The Inferium in here is pulled out with a basic item filter. And this machine is also round robining it, so that we'll split it between these two crafters. I just use crafters because they're actually really easy to do. We're also using infinite power sources because I really don't want to worry about setting up a power source. This is just for proof of concept, really. So best way to actually get the items out of the garden clutches, I didn't explain that earlier, is conveyor belts. They're actually very useful, and it's kind of cool to actually see it come out and go into the chest. The Inferium seeds get pulled out over here and put into these seed reprocessors. For every garden clutch you use, and for every seed you plant, you need a seed reprocessor. Reason for this is you will back up with seeds because of how kind of slow these things are. There's not really a faster way, but I'm just saying that's why this is kind of unrealistic. You need seed reprocessors for every type of essence. What you can do is you can use drawers and then take everything. If you put a drawer right there, like these drawers, a double drawer that collects the essence and the seeds, you can pull out the essence, put it in an ender chest, and you can also pull out a seed and put it in another ender chest, or instantly into a seed reprocessor, because you can put an insert filter on, so you can extract but have two different insert filters. So you can also do that to maximize your storage, and you can put a void upgrade on it to delete the seeds once it gets too full, because maybe at that point you just don't want to collect the seeds anymore, and it doesn't really matter if they get deleted or not. You're just making tons and tons of items. But what happens is this is making a Prudent Essence, and this is making an Inferium block, because these are pretty much the two useful things. Prudent Essence is probably more useful than making it into a block, because you can turn Prudent Essence back into Inferium. This is just a proof of concept, really. And then over here we have stone. We're making, not stone essence, but making cobblestone. As you can see, we've already made actually a ton of cobblestone. This hasn't been on for a while. As you can see, we have 3 seed reprocessors, 3 garden clutches, and it's doing basically the same thing. The good thing about this one is it's 1 essence, so we don't have a backup problem with essence. So we're actually in the safe area right there. Same thing with the drawer. You can use the drawer if you want to. The reason why the rest of these are going off at the same time is because that makes sure there's not really any backup. But that's more important later on when I get over here for a proof of concept, because I'll explain that in a moment. It does back up, and that's kind of bad, but it's not bad if you have a drawer, which I've been saying. So if you want a drawer, you're good if you have a drawer. So again, over here we're just crafting up some stone. We don't have a lot of stone over here because we do produce the same amount, but I don't know why it's actually less. Oh, that is why. Oh, that is why. And this is why you always gotta make sure everything is stationed right. There we go. So you can see from this has been on just a little, not as long as this, but you can see how much more there actually is compared to this. And so you don't want this. This is what you don't want, because you can tell it goes really slow. And the problem is, once you have an excess, you won't be able to get rid of that excess. Why? There's 3 seeds coming in, and it only does about 1 seed per time. So we'll take a look at this. Just eyeball this, and let me just sort it out a little bit. You can see how much there is, and we'll be able to see maybe if it decreases. It may not decrease, it may decrease, it may increase, but we'll look at this in a minute too. This is why you don't want this, because there is a chance you will get too much and you'll get backed up right here. Hopefully that didn't happen over here. No, it's not. And these are on round robin as well, so that it distributes it easily. But as you can see, this is why it's important to get rid of the seeds and have it be the same amount and always on. So you need this system. But we've gotten our stone to go up actually exponentially. Over here, here's where we get into the more interesting things. So this is creating granite. And you see, yeah, granite is fine. I just finished this one not too long ago. And we have all 4 of these going at the same time. I do believe the seed reprocessor actually takes the same amount of time for one of these to grow. but it doesn't really matter because you can see it just instantly does it. So it actually seems like it does take the same amount of time, which is very important. So even one, you want the seed to go into the seed reprocessor pretty much instantaneously as it grows, so you don't get a backup of seeds and you don't have to worry about crafting. The reason why there's 4 stone seeds and 1 quartz seeds is because of the imbalance between the ratio of stone essence to quartz essence. And I was testing it out and I found out that was the reason why. That's annoying me. So I was finding that I just wanted it to craft. I put it on remember, and I wanted everything to just be crafted and no leftover essence. The problem with that was the quartz essence. It was only a 1-to-4 ratio, and this wasn't producing enough essence fast enough, meaning the seeds, the regular essence from the seeds, wasn't getting here fast enough before there was more quartz essence. And that's probably because we need to add some speed upgrades. That might fix the problem, but I'm not too certain. Maybe 1 or 2 or 3 speed upgrades would be fine, but these extract 4 at a time. It's just a little bit slow, which is probably why. But it was always leaving. This was incrementally getting more and more and more. Again, wouldn't be a problem if you had a drawer, but that you really don't want excess items in this case if you really want to be kind of efficient in what you do. So yeah, so for that's the thing why you can't actually you can when it's just the garden clutches. Let me get my words. Garden clutches, you need 843 to craft everything possible, plus a couple other items that you would have to get as well to craft everything possible. That's not, you can cut that down, but not too much. So there's a lot of other essences, mostly the ingot essences. There's a couple that have other uses like iron and things like that. Is there any iron over here? I think iron was way back here. Like iron, you could, but you might not be able to. So, example, 8 essence, you can get 2 from the garden clutch, and then you can get 4 from the seed, so that makes 6. So that's pretty inefficiently, and it wouldn't run smoothly, so you would need a total of 3. So you could, for every 8 clutches you need, you technically only need 3. And for like other ones like the zombie, the pig, or the chicken, the zombie or the pig essence, you only need technically 1 if you just wanted it to be bare minimum, because you could do 2, because 2 would probably be just a little bit better, but 3 would be the minimum amount you actually physically need. So there's a minimum amount you need and pretty much a maximum amount you absolutely need. Like the nature one, you could use less of that. Nature one, you can craft 8. There's 80 different clutches you would need because of how many things you craft with it, but you don't absolutely need to do that. So I'm just explaining it a little bit. You could do fewer, you could do more, it doesn't really matter, but you can cut down the clutches by almost probably more than half, I would say, because of how it's definitely more than half. It's about almost 75%, probably a little less, to actually get this to make a huge old factory that just produces all these different items from all these different essences with garden clutches. But rambling on a little bit, so that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is just all about, for those that maybe didn't quite understand, this is about more of what you can do with a garden clutch and why is it's so significant for mystical agriculture, because it allows you to make more, get a lot of essence a lot quicker than regularly, because you can also get the seeds and turn them into essences as well, which is pretty cool and actually very useful. And garden clutches are absolutely the fastest way you can do, even with a tier 3 growth crystal cannot compare to this. It might a little bit, but you honestly, this is a lot easier to get than a tier 3 growth crystal. So anyways, guys, this video's gone on long enough. I hope you learned something for why garden clutches are important for Mystical Agriculture in Sky Factory 3 for resource gathering. And I am Gold Minimouth 06, and I will catch you guys later.